Hello, welcome to another 5-Minute Friday. Good morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are in the world. Hope you've been enjoying the Tour de France so far. I certainly have. Had a couple of late nights and I watched the stage last night, stage 6, and so far I think it's been a pretty good race. Obviously it's been, stage 5 was a little bit boring, but apart from that I think it's been a pretty good race so far, and obviously we've got some big mountain stages coming up over the next couple of days and a rest day on Monday. Alright, starting off with a brief stage 6 recap or review, if you will. So finally we had a breakaway stick. I wasn't quite right in my prediction around Jumbo looking to take the yellow jersey yesterday, but look, I think it was a good stage to watch and very strong breakaway. We had Greg Van Avermaet, obviously, Jesus Herrada, Andre Lutsenko in there, Nelson Paulus, Eddie the Boss, Boasson-Hagen, Daniel Oss and Nico Roach and Remy Cavagna in the mix. So really strong breakaway. And listening to the cycling podcast this morning, there was an interview with Nelson Paulus on there from the audio diaries, and he said that basically it was really hard to get into the break. I think they averaged 51k an hour for the first hour, and it was really tough to get in there from what Simon Geschke said, but also from what Nelson Paulus said as well. Gap got out to about 6.5 minutes before Mitchelton Scott decided to chase. And sorry, I'm looking down at my laptop here a little bit because I've written out some notes. And when they hit the Col de la Lacette, the gap was down to 4 minutes. Matt White had been on SBS and basically said they wanted the break to stay away, but they wanted to retain the yellow jersey, so they were trying to keep it kind of underneath that 3-minute mark. When the break hit that Col de la Lacette, Lutsenko basically stepped on the gas immediately pretty much, and almost straight away you had Daniel Oss, Cavagna and Eddie Boasson-Hagen were out the back pretty much immediately. I think it shows kind of how hard a stage it had been, how hard the breakaway had been riding to kind of get to that point. And then from there, Roach was next to go, and then that left a group of 4, which was basically Herrada, Lutsenko, Greg Van Avermaet, and Powers up the road. I wouldn't say Lutsenko kind of attacked; he just kind of put his foot down, and Herrada was yo-yoing off the back. He managed to get back on and past Greg, and then obviously past Powers as well, and set off in pursuit of Lutsenko. And then obviously Powers and Greg got together and started working together, and they were kind of another minute or so back from the group. In the peloton, Ineos were just riding a tempo effectively. I must say I wasn't overly impressed with how they rode. They didn't kind of look to bring it back. They didn't really put anyone in trouble. Jumbo were on the back, were just kind of sitting there, not really doing anything. Meanwhile, Ineos were shelling riders pretty much from their own train almost immediately. So you had Amador obviously did his work, got dropped, Dylan van Baarle, and reading cycling news this morning, apparently Bernal was even saying to Kwiatkowski that he needed to slow down at the top. So not really sure how Egan Bernal is feeling, but going out on a limb, again, not much of a limb. I don't think he's going to win this Tour, is Bernal. Alaphilippe obviously put in an attack towards the top, gained 1 second, and I think Book-Mollema closed that down, obviously protecting his position. Lutsenko rode away for the finish. He put a minute into Herrada in the end, with Greg coming third and Powers coming fourth. So, pretty interesting stage, and it was exciting to watch. Our run of second places or near misses, always being the bridesmaid, never the bride, continues. Another second place with Herrada last night. We had Roach in the break as well, as did all the cycling Twitter, I think, based on what I saw. So shame he couldn't do the business for us, but that's the way it goes. Right, stage 7. I'm already 4.5 minutes through, so we'll see how we go. 168 kilometers. It's a pretty lumpy profile. I've been on windy this morning. It looks like it could be the bunch could be exposed to crosswinds. Hard to say until you actually see what's coming in over Twitter in the morning, obviously. But from looking at Windy, I've pumped in the Tour GPX for the stage tonight, and it definitely looks like they're going to be facing some crosswinds. So could be absolute carnage this afternoon or this evening. So we'll see how we go. There's an intermediate sprint with 56 kilometers ridden, and then there's the Cat 4 climb, which is basically 14.9 kilometers long at 3.8%. So that's a Cat 3, sorry, I should say. And then there's a Cat 4 climb as well. It's basically a small bump in the road, not even worth talking about. From a betting perspective, and basically I'm not betting into this stage. I think it's way too risky, and so I won't be going too hard on this stage, if at all. It's very much a no bet. I think all the usual suspects will potentially be in the mix. I think if you had to ask me who I'll be backing, I think Sagan would be my #1 pick, simply because he's strong in the crosswinds. You know, he's got an awesome finish. He can get over the climbs, no problems. And if this stage turns to absolute carnage, which I think Quick-Step, if they get the opportunity to start ripping the bunch to pieces, they will. And you know, obviously we know they're exceptionally strong in the crosswinds, but I think it's going to be it has potential for absolute chaos on the stage. So we will see how we go. As I said, it's a no bet for me tonight. I'm going to be watching Twitter this morning, in France this morning, later this evening for me, to see what information we're getting through, and if it looks like it's going to be super windy. If it is going to be super windy, it will be a stage to watch. If not, no bet, and I'll be taking the early bath tonight and catching up on my sleep for stage 8 on Saturday. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've been enjoying these videos. If you can do all the usual things, hit like, hit subscribe, any comments or feedback, always keen to answer them, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers!